I listened to them last Sunday night, and I thought, well, they're going to cover the patriotic. I'm going to go back in the Bible and talk about another memorial and how God tells us to deal with memorials. I won't keep you too long. I don't know exactly what time it is, but let's turn to Joshua chapter 4. Way back at the first part of the Old Testament, Joshua chapter 4. My granddaughter was at the house this week, and as I'm studying for Memorial Day, you're always thinking about what you remember and what you don't, right? So I'm studying along there, and she's in the floor trying to show me all that she's learning in her gymnastics class, tumbling class. That's what it's called. When you're real little, it's tumbling, you know, and she's real little. So she's laying on the floor doing flips this way and flips that way and doing these summer, you know. I'm just studying along and smiling, and pretty soon she's like, now you do it, Pawpaw. I just ignored her for a while, and pretty soon she flipped back over the other way, and she said, now you do it, Pawpaw. I just ignored her, and finally she said, you get down here and do this. So I thought, well, golly, I can surely do that little something that she just turned 5. I can surely do that. So I laid down there in the floor, all 6'4.5" of me. I laid down and I sat there just a minute, and I thought, I can't go nowhere. I can't even get back up. So I started to roll over, and I thought, no, that hurts. It hurt all kinds of places. I looked back around, and she's standing there with her hips on her. Pawpaw, you're just too big and fat. I sat there just a minute, and I thought, I'm doing this now if I can. So I managed to kind of halfway roll over and then flip sideways, and then I couldn't get back up. I looked back over, and she's just laughing to beat the band. But folks, I remember a day when I could actually do that. Sometimes you got to come to a point when you can't do it to remember when you're good. How many of you remember a day whenever you've been so sick you thought, man, I have been healthy? Anybody ever been there? God says in Joshua here, He's going to talk about that a little bit. We have to remember where we've been sometimes. And sometimes you have to be in a spot where you can't do something to remember how good it was to be able to do it. Is that not right? Okay. I'm going to jump through this. We're not going to take forever, but Joshua chapter 4. They come over into the Jordan River here. They're getting ready to go into the promised land, something they've been waiting on for years. God helps them across. He parts the waters. In verse 1 here of chapter 4, and it came to pass when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man, and command ye them, saying, take ye hence out of the midst of the Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones. You shall carry them over, and leave them in a lodging place, where you shall lodge this night. God wants us to remember what He's done for us. How many of you have ever been somewhere that you could not get out of? They made it up to the Jordan. They made it up at flood stage. Now the Jordan River, people don't really grasp it many times, is not as wide as this room. 10 months out of the year, it's about half as wide as this room. It's any little kid could wade across it. But when the mountain snows and the rain begins to come, it floods. And then it gets to be a huge roaring river, and it stays that way sometimes for a month, 2 months, depending on how much there is. God led them there when He knew they couldn't cross it. How many of us have ever looked back on life and think, why did God put me in a spot He knew I couldn't do anything about? And I know they can't cross it. They're going to have to depend on me. And they did. He gave them directions. Be strong and of good courage. God will take care of you. You read the first 3 chapters, and that's what it says over and over and over. Be strong and of good courage. God's going to take care of it. Now, they got to be camped literally can be seated now. Jason's going to come up and we're going to baptize him in some